Righty then.
Alrighty then. We're here. We're live.
Oh.
We're awesome. Finale.
Yes, the epic conclusion, perhaps. The conclusion, at least.
And now the conclusion.
Yes. It's all led up to this, Stuart. As with all these serialized, the 10 episodes. This is the culmination, right? This is what it's all meant. Was it satisfying? Was it good? We'll find out. But look, over into the Stargazer, Stuart. We see it again after 10 episodes.
Beautiful.
Although, a bit weird, it has green blinkies and orange blinkies around the saucer as well. It's a bit weird. It's okay, just do you need 12 blinkies that don't blink? I mean 12 lights?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's important. There are 4 lights.
There was more than 4.
There are 4 lights. Anyway. Welcome back, guys. It's time to talk about the finale of Picard Season 2 called Farewell. Farewell. Bye-bye.
Olivia says, Happy Mother's Day, Samuel, the mother of Trekyards. No, Mother's Day was March. You're like 2 months late. Crazy. Should have wished it then. And it is Raj. I was thinking, what is like the best, most like live spoilery image? This is a good image. Like this deserved a bit of credit because it's clean, crisp, Star Trekian. It was nice.
Right. Yeah.
Wish we got more of them. Well, new Trek, right? Which is lots of darkness, but still. Yeah. I'm gonna start sharing. See you in a minute.
Go share. Yeah. 66 of you here. 31 likes, guys. Hit that like button. Let's try to get up to at least 50 to start. I think we can do that right away with all you guys hitting that like button. So do it. Also, don't forget the super chats. We want to hear your thoughts. We do read them all on the air, so we do talk about each one of them also. And it's a good way to contribute to the channel, as not only financially, but also in like a, putting your 2 cents worth in to argue with us or agree with us. Either way, it's fine. We read them. If you want to PayPal, you can send a PayPal to trekyards@hotmail.com. Just let us know in the regular chat that you've done that, and we'll read your comment or question via the PayPal. You can hit that join button down there to join the channel. I'd like to get 2 new members during the course of this live. That would be awesome. There's different options for helping us on a monthly basis by doing so. So just check it out, see what you are interested in. You can get a rank and everything included with that. That's fun stuff. And as Jeff Harris shows, you got some little emojis and stuff right there that you can share in the live chat when you are a member of the channel. So please hit that join button and take a look. Also, you can help us on Patreon, patreon.com/Trekyards. It's another monthly way to help us. Or you can just help yourself by checking out the links down below. There's affiliate links to Eagle Moss, where you can add a bunch of ships to your cart and then check out and use the discount code Trekyards10 to save yourself some money. Also, the Teespring and the TeePublic store down there to pick up some cool Trekyards swag. Check it out. Go look. We want to see you guys wearing that stuff. Yeah, I know. Trek Culture is also live. Clash of the Trek YouTubers.
Actually live or premiering a video, which is different than actually live?
I don't know. Heard a few people mention that today. Like, ooh, tough decision. Who do we watch?
Well, we're always live at this time, so,
Captain Ron Phillips says, Trekyards is better. There's no comparison. Well, there you go.
Cool. Well, they've got 500 people watching, so.
Of course they do. We have 87.
Yeah. But I think it's a premiere, so it's not actually live. Just saying, it's a premiere video.
Showed it to him and talked about the idea, and he loved it.
Yeah, so it's talking to Doug, and it's a standing thing. So not actually live, just saying.
They're talking to Doug?
Yeah.
The Drexler.
Indeed.
Well, we would probably have 140 people here right now if it wasn't for that, I think. So, whatever. It is what it is. You guys can participate in the conversation because it's not a premiere. This isn't live. So, like I said, super chat.
Yes.
All right.
So did you just rewatch this? Because we had a...
I did.
Okay, because we had a delay. We were all Strangely Worldsing. And then the weekend, I don't even know what I did. And today I was actually filming all day doing TNG. So I've been staring at a TNG costume actor all day in visualizing the Enterprise, well not the Enterprise, but the Galaxy class around them, etc. So that was my day. How was your day?
I did a lot of work outside. I cut the grass. I pulled some stuff out of the shed, set up some stuff on the deck, cut up some wood. I did a bunch of
Any
stuff.
TNG costumed people in your day?
Just in my mind.
Cool. Okay, so we haven't thought about it since Thursday. What did you think then as episode in the second? You had time to mull and then rewatch.
It's like my fourth viewing of it this morning because I forgot I didn't do screen caps on Friday for this, and this morning I'm like, well, shit, I got to do work outside, but I'm going to do this first, so I got all screen caps, and then
it's the double, double, but we had one double two. So there we go. Tell me what you feel now you've re-examined it.
I still think it's a good episode. It's a good episode of Star Trek overall, like emotional farewell to Q, and seeing a starship and people in uniform is great.
Well, that's
for
quite
Star
a low
Trek.
bar.
I know, right?
Seeing a starship in uniforms gives it points. It's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
So every episode Voyager gets that default point bump, I guess.
Yeah. It still felt very rushed. Like, almost like Terry wanted, like, I want all this in the last episode because I want to write it. So, I don't care what you do with the other episodes. Just, a lot of this stuff could have been stretched out over some of those other episodes, I think, and been better. And maybe felt more impactful because you have more time. But the first half is very rushed. And then the second half, I think, is a good pace. But I think it did stick the landing, and I just wish it wouldn't have been such filler in the middle. That's all. So overall, I think this episode was good as far as Picard episodes go. And I rather enjoyed it again on the rewatch. It was a nice, quick boom, 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 wrapping things up. And there wasn't much lag time or downtime watching it. So I kind of appreciated it for that. Unlike some of the other episodes where there's just like the mystery box approach.
It's definitely a flawed concept if not done very, very well. It keeps popping up in things, and it's just not really often doesn't hit the,
How about you? You just watched it again, and
yeah.
Tell everybody what you told me while you were watching it.
Oh well. So I've been up since 8:20 in the morning, which for me is like 5 hours earlier, and so I did fall asleep in several points. Now I my eyes were so heavy I dozed off them because it, up for many minutes. And I was working very busy those times, so I did fall asleep in several points. But it's fine. I stayed awake during the worst bits, so I slept during the best bits, at least partially. And I remember I woke up with Guinan's voice in my head, and I'm like, why is Whoopi Goldberg? Oh, hello, Whoopi. So that was but I did sort of get to re-experience it to some extent, and I like what you said there a second ago. And I want to talk about that for a second. That you say it's a good episode of Star Trek and Picard, but the first bit's rushed. I think it's a bad episode of Star Trek Picard, but a better TNG episode. Because once you get past the first 15-20 minutes, it becomes a TNG episode with Q and then the resolution of the present day stuff. Like, the best stuff in it is the TNG closeout. That is not the stuff, like, Picard itself has not set up, because I think either Red Letter Media or one other group said, in this season has not set up why you care about Q, who he is properly. Like, it's not done that enough by itself to mean that this ending is worth that much in this show. It only works as we've seen TNG, which means those scenes, which are a TNG sequel, just like Data's end at the end of season 1, those are a TNG sequel, and those are very good. That's not because of the Picard show quality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you get to the future, or the present day stuff, it's also fun because it's just a Star Trek episode. So it's good when it's TNG and when it's Picard season 2 episode 3 again, but when it's the end of Picard, it's not very good, really. And it almost feels as if there's two writers. One that didn't care about the main plot because they just sort of burned through it, not very interesting, and then it slowed down and got interesting. So it's a weird one, and I definitely... It does feel like those two chunks, or three chunks really, all very different, all different closures. Now knowing, which we didn't know when we filmed it, that almost the entire season 2 cast are leaving, or, well, not returning, I should say, which makes it a different watch, because that is the end of Elnor, that is the end of Rios, that is the end of Jurati, that is the end of Soji.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be the end of Soji, Jurati, or Elnor, really. They could come back.
Well, they've all said they're not in Season 3. Now, obviously, they could be lying, but they've all said that. And given they need to say that, they didn't even say anything. So, that's, it's everybody. And the Laris character, they're in it, but not what we think. So, that was different watching, knowing, like, that was their ending. Or at least that was their... I'm sure Joy will be back if they have a scene with the Borg, she'll be back as a special guest star, for like 12 minutes, like that sort of thing. But then you're a special guest star. But when you're in this episode, it really just highlights the weakness of the entire season. Like, this stuff was interesting, and they should have this episode should have been episode 5.
Yeah.
And then you're back in the present, and then you deal with this plot. To have it be episode 10, it lets the entire season down, and I do think that this season will be lost, forgotten, and ignored for decades to come. Except, just like Season 1's remembered for Data's death, this now has Q's death. Does that mean Season 3 will have, Picard's death again? Or, whose death, whose TNG character we're going to kill in Season 3? That's what Picard's doing, they're just killing a famous legacy character. And those things are the best parts of the season, give or take. So by killing a legend, you're gaining points, but by piggybacking off all of old Trek. So isn't that a cheap way of gaining points? You're not generating your own characters or your own stories that are interesting. You're killing off the ones we love. Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, it is. This season is going to be remembered for 3 things, mainly. A red dress, the goodbye to Q, and just basically the Stargazer.
Yeah, the Stargazer. Yeah, new ships. That's true.
And STO ships. Yeah.
And probably 4 be the mum's suicide thing, but the fact that you didn't even mention that is an interesting statement that didn't even play into your thought process.
Kid 10K sent a PayPal of $5. It says, when Picard hugged Q, the only thing that could have made it more emotional is if Q had cried during it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's definitely, good scenes, although it's odd to have him be in such a dark, non-reflective of his normal attire robes. That was, I think, should have been something different. And I don't buy for a second the Raffi strangling him. Maybe he could kill me. That's silly. He's a god. You can't kill him. Even weaker. What does that even mean? Like they just want to give Raffi something to say. And the fact that there was no, I'll save other stuff to say, but there was no 7 dialogue with him. It's like, you actually met Q. Raffi hasn't met Q.
Yeah.
7 doesn't know from anyone.
Fry Minis, $5.
Thank you.
I have to imagine the Stargazer will be in Season 3 because of these sets, right? They don't actually build all of that for just 10 minutes, right? Oh yeah, you're going to see the Stargazer in Season 3. And they're probably going to redress that set to other Starship bridges perhaps as well. So if that's the way they do it, I don't know. But yeah.
Although since it's so stylized, you can't redress it that much. I mean, those very curved things, the ring, I mean, they can't change it too much. So I think it'll be sort of on a TNG level of redress. Like, well, it's clearly just the Stargazer. Okay.
Yeah.
Not so a bad thing, just it's so specific. I didn't design it with that in mind, clearly. So, yeah.
Chuck $8. Traveler and Supervisors, a continuity error from TNG. Yes, because the Travelers say that they've never thought humans were interesting before, so they haven't bothered to look in on them. I believe that's line dialogue from one of the Traveler episodes.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it.
I got alerted to that as well.
I kind of like that they tied them together a little bit. Kind of answers the question of who was the ones that abducted humans from Earth like 6,000 years ago. Like Gary 7's ancestors. I kind of like it in a way, but at the same time, yeah, it's like, guys, do you not know your own shows? No, I guess you don't.
And TNG was clearly not implying that in any way. He was a special extragalactic being who was non-corporeal, who travelled the time stream because he travelled. Like, they even say he traded advanced engineering techniques to traders to travel. So how is that protecting the timeline if he's giving people secrets? Clearly he's not doing that, and the fact that he got tricked by an engineer in Starfleet, how is that protecting the timeline? I think it's an interesting retcon, but does not fit with it. It does. Now, if he'd said after my traveller died, I changed the mantle, fine, which I guess they might do eventually. But it's certainly an inconsistent retcon that, also adds even more confusion that, well, why would the travellers go into the future, get Romulan phasers from the future, give them back to Laris, who was born in the past, not Laris, to use in the past, rather than tech from then? And why from that point? Why from the Picard era would they grab phasers and give them to her? Why not even further forward that's more advanced? Why not even less advanced? Why would you... I know it's reuse a prop, but there's a... because they couldn't travel in time, that was their whole thing. But now they obviously have got bosses that can travel in time, so... I don't think they thought the ramifications through properly.
No.
Doesn't feel that way. And the fuck do they beam out in a Starfleet transporter that's gold? That was silly.
It could be argued that Wesley went and asked for the help of Starfleet, got a ship, helped them travel back through time with the slingshot effect to acquire Corey. I mean, you could make that argument, but then there's another ship in orbit, apparently. So I don't know. It's just
so the traveller can travel in time, so he can travel in time. Why is he... What does a traveller need with a starship, babe? To paraphrase
same thing.
To paraphrase Sam Kirk's brother.
Same thing God needs with one. Laughable, Larry. Changing the Borg in the past changed the future entirely. Maybe I missed something. Yeah, I mean, I was under the impression that the Jurati created the Borg in the Confederate timeline, changed them, but no, once she worked away, timeline got corrected and just led up to the events of the end of the episode. And it's like, okay, now I'm confused because it's an interdimension. Unless she took her ship to, like, crossed over to another dimension, because they did say it was an interdimensional temporal rift. So I don't know. Because what was Voyager doing the whole time in the Delta Quadrant if the Borg weren't the Borg, right? Like, there's a lot of unanswered questions.
And it's a bit insulting to retcon all of Star Trek just for the sake of having this.
Yeah.
It's really, really insulting and not good. But the fact is they give no answers. Zero.
No.
And we'll get
I could see it being a splinter cell of the Borg, or, like, something that the Borg didn't really know about. Similar yet different. And the Borg Queen's knowledge would be able to mask them from the actual Borg. So I could see the Borg and this cooperative working at the same time.
You're going to say Quat Mulat there? Sounds like...
No, I was going to say cooperative.
Okay. But we'll get there. There's obviously a big debate to have, but that's near the end. That's skipping all the main plot, Stuart.
What? Main plot?
Like, think about it. That's all... You just skipped all over all the song stuff, all the exciting stuff, Stuart.
Well, I did it as quickly as the episode, so...
Oh, that's good. So I do find it odd that when people say this episode's really great, it's only great for, like, the Q thing. And by that logic, season 1's really good because the data thing. It's like, it's not... It's a very small part of it.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm fine with enjoying those bits, that's a very small part of the whole. And we'll get into that. So that's a whole debate to have as well. And I think I wrote a brief for us to do, but we didn't get around to it because busy. But we start...
Well, those could be some lives this week, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. That's perfect, yeah. And you put a poll up as well, Stuart.
Yes, I did. Did you think this episode stuck the landing? Yes or no? Please go vote, guys. We have 93 votes. And we have 79 likes with 163 people here. Guys, hit that like button. Let's try to get up to 150. And
this is the season finale, so we expect Super Chats to be flowing as you guys think things.
Plentiful.
Certainly not this so far, but that's a testament to Picard if that's the case. But we start with the CGI chateau, and once again we're reusing sets. Straight away we're back in the chateau, and Picard says probably the worst line of the episode, because it breaks the logic of the show even further. he specifically points out the bullet holes in the wall. Says, I remember when I was young and I was told about these from early in the past. And then Rio says, I guess the timeline's like fixing itself. And I'm like, that's not how that works. Either they were there originally in his timeline and it's predestination, which also then deflates all of the other time travel in the season because it's not predestination, or they weren't there and he's lying, or
well, my thinking is that there were bullet holes there regardless because the Nazis were using it as a headquarters. So when the Nazis were getting pushed out of France, they would have been fired at by the French, whatever, to retake the. That's fine.
But he explicitly says, like, I remember they're exactly there, implying they're new. Okay, it doesn't necessarily say they're new, but the scene wouldn't say, oh, bullet holes that are already there are still there. I guess timeline's making sense. It's clearly saying, and the fact that he remembers them means it already happened in his timeline, because memories don't change in time travel. If they did, this whole story couldn't happen, because he'd be the Confederation guy. So this scene should have been cut, because this breaks the whole logic. If it already happened, then all of the problems of the time travel logic come to fruition. Hugely problematic.
Kid 10K threw in $5 in PayPal, so thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Says maybe the suit Girardi was wearing was a temporal suit that protected her from the changes in the timeline. It's a pretty fancy suit, I gotta say.
Well, we'll get there.
Fry Minis, $2. Sir Patrick Stewart is a great voiceover actor. We need him in Lower Decks. Yes.
I mean, yes. In any case, we do.
Yeah. Stephen Burnside, £4.50. So thank you. I pray Eaglemoss are quick to release an XL USS Stargazer. Maintain your link with Eaglemoss, please. Yes. Don't worry about that.
Excelsior Domain says, but doesn't Guinan say it already happened? She had a picture of Rios up forever, doesn't she say? Well, if that's the case, then she always met Picard as... Because if that happened, then she did meet Picard as young Guinan, who didn't remember Picard from an event that already had happened already. You can't have both time travel events happen and not happen at the same time. Either both happened, or both didn't happen, because one happened before the other. I took it more as, in this timeline... Once he catches back up, there is now a thing on the wall. Because she would know... She would have mentioned to him that she met him and Rios, because they all worked together in this, you know.
It would be worth going back and watching the first episode with
They already did, and they don't show that angle.
Of course they don't.
Yeah.
I was also wondering the whole time when she said that, I'm like, what about that event that they had at the bar where they had people that you could go visit the bar? I don't know if you saw that. Larry Nemechek was there. I wonder if that picture was there the whole time anybody noticed it, because that'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, but there are there are times then, because we assume that the Gabriel Bell storyline was that Sisko went back, took his place, and a new picture of Gabriel Bell was taken, and therefore now after he's come back, the picture's changed. So once he's gone back and changed things, now there's a picture. But like I say, you can't both have her remembering not knowing him and remembering that she remembers him. That's two literally different timelines. They doesn't work that way. That was another inconsistency.
Yeah, they don't care to explain it either, and that's the problem. Jay Donaldson, $5. So they found the bullet holes, but not the bodies that appear to have just materialized in the walls of the tunnels.
Yep, and they never remove them. So as far as we know, there are Borg nanoprobes under Chateau Picard the entire time.
I like how Rios is like filling a bag. I got broken tricorder, communicators, phasers. I think I got everything. It's like, you didn't, though, just for the record. But hey.
And Beyond the Fan says, in the scene she mentioned, she wondered if you'd spot the photo before he travelled through time. I don't remember her saying that, and you just watched it as well.
She said it's always been there, but you've always... I left it there. It's always been there. But you've always been more whatever than observant. We'll get there when we'll look at the dialogue when we get to that part. But, yeah.
But it can't have always been there, so...
Anyway. And then there's the whole, what about the two Renees thing? That doesn't make any sense. And Talon has this, the card later. Talk about it later. Anyway, get to see her servo pen work. Cool.
And then she has a easy arm's reach tricorders and appear to be phasers, and it took her less than a minute to grab them, but it was too hard to get them in the battle in the last episode, when she easily could have got them. And tricorders have been very useful to know where they were. This is also a bit of a mockery of the last episode as well.
Yeah, I did notice something here though that I appreciate. She gives Rios one of the servos, the control servos. So technically, he does have access to all this equipment, even after he stays. So he could forge his documents. He can do whatever. He can get back without having to buy a plane ticket. So I kind of like that.
Of course he knows how to use Romulan technology from whatever this is from flawlessly. Of course he does.
I didn't notice that the first time, so I do appreciate that at least.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be used in the episode somewhere, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Good tea, nice house, $10. If travelers oversee watchers, Romulan weapons is possible as time is not linear for them. Traveler is TOG episode said humans were not interesting yet. Who said Gary 7 comes before the Traveler? It says what? Gary 7 says that 6,000 years ago, roughly, these people kidnap people off of Earth and raise them on their planet to have specific skill sets and do this job. Generations of humans lived on their planet and then got put back on Earth to be watchers. So with the time travel thing, you can answer it 100 different ways, but yeah, it is what it is.
And David says Guinan had both timelines going against Enterprise. Not quite. She didn't actually remember Good Federation. She knew it was wrong. She couldn't say how. She just knew there was no war, because there's a feeling of war and a feeling of no war. And then when normal Guinan happens, she just calls the bridge and says, "Is everything all right?" Yes. She doesn't actually remember both timelines. She knows it's a wrong timeline. Yeah. She really doesn't remember both timelines. That is not what happens. She just knows it's wrong.
Yes. No specifics. She even says so. I don't have all the details.
Because he wants details. Tell me how to fix it. But our Picard chooses to go with Talon rather than his important crew to stop the guy who's going to kill the mission. He decides to go with the Talon instead. And do you know...
Because he knows that she's going to sacrifice herself.
But did you know how he does absolutely nothing in the actual episode up to the point where she dies? He's literally hiding in a corner.
Yep. And what did they do with her body? A Romulan body on a... Well, not a military, but a space...
I guess he used a pen and fuzzed them back.
Oh, could have, possibly, sure. Yeah.
Well, how does he get back? But I mean, Picard is so impotent in some of these episodes with just lack of story progression. Obviously, he gets the second half, but he's just there to watch her die. That's it. He really is. That's his only part. Because when he sees Sung, I'm like, oh, he's going to talk to Sung and have an important scene. No scene. Just there to be with her when she dies.
Yeah. They teleport, and he's like, you can't do this. And she's like, you can't tell me what to do. It's my job, my life. You're not responsible for other people dying, so piss off.
And also, she's literally been here for like 29 years, watching after her.
Yeah.
He has zero right to tell her what to do. Her entire career is this. She had to watch a girl in diapers being told she's important. She had to watch her She had to sit in a room with a TV being like, yeah, Renee is baking again. She's Why did I sign up for
she
this?
added too much flour.
I got kidnapped.
No.
That's so good. I got kidnapped for this. Jesus Christ.
She added too much flour. Oh no, this is the worst Food Network show ever.
Yeah.
Renee.
But it's and I said to you in another review, it's shockingly low budget, this section. It stays entirely outside, entirely in this little courtyard thing, and some little corridors. There's very little money spent here. They obviously go to a standing location that's sort of sci-fi-esque.
Well, I want to know what Soon did, because the next thing is in Soon's thing. You hear him talking, and he says 4 minutes 27 seconds to adjust flight geometry, whatever, and it's a recorded. It's an MP3. which is the right amount of time, because when they crack open the thing, it says 3 minutes and 47 seconds or whatever it is. So he lined that up perfectly, and then had drive time to get to the, because he's not using alien tech, I don't think. Drive time to get to the facility. Why would you do that? Why would you give them a heads up? I would just not have anything playing, so they didn't suspect anything. Because then they scan and they find the heat signatures in the wall for the drones. It's why tip them off. Like, it's the dumbest thing ever. But anyway.
Yeah, and also I noticed that when they beam in, Seven comes on the corner with a knife. Where are your Talon phasers?
That made me cringe so hardcore.
Because if they had one Talon phaser, they could have set to overload, put it on the drones, beamed away.
Yeah.
That's it. So then they're choosing not to come with weapons. If she has 3 tricores, she has 3 phasers. I'm sorry, she has 3 phasers, at least. It a bit cringy, as you say. And yeah.
Maybe she got really attached to the knife in the chateau.
I mean, it's got Borg blood in it.
Yeah, like that, yeah.
But I do like that he's at the space center. I think that was a nice twist, although him being there is pretty much impossible in the time for him to fly from France to... And if maybe he still utilised the transporters right at the last second, even if he clearly didn't beam to his house, it's ransacked. Yeah. Or is that later?
It's later that it's ransacked.
Yeah, right. I don't know, it's all a bit weird. Very weird.
Good tea, nice house, $5.
Hey.
Yes, TNG Traveler could have come from 6,000 years ago before events of Gary 7. Time is not linear. They can be from all points of timeline. Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Yeah, and why is there no like guards? All someone had to do was hire some private security. Maybe some of the the military that wasn't assimilated. Maybe have some of those in the building.
Yeah, it's funny because as soon as I saw the drone launch rack, I'm like, just rip them fucking things off, just twist them off the rails, but then they have a line of dialogue. If we tamper with this at all, it's gonna explode. Well, yes, as you said, set a freaking disruptor or a phaser to overload, throw it in the middle, use the little device.
Can't you overload a comm badge? I mean, any explosion, they'll explode each other. I mean, it's just especially if they'll explode when you touch them. Okay, make them explode. You know, it seems odd they wouldn't think of that.
Yeah.
And then we have Talon, who awkwardly walks through this, clearly not in the right clothing for this environment. No one stops her. I know obviously it's once you get towards the security, it's one thing, but clearly out of the way. And then walks into the changing room, steals the uniform of someone who's still there in service, because she's not actually ill. As she said in a later scene, I've got the pass of your co-pilot. Did she kill the co-pilot? Did she knock her out? How does she know the co-pilot?
She probably stunned her or something with the little servo thing. Gary 7 did that too.
Right. That'd have been cool to see.
It would have been.
It just feels so awkward that she just walks in and comes out with a thing. Ensign, which I quite like his interactions. Although, boy, capitalism, you give off money, you do whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh, where are we? Hold on, I just gotta do something here. Yeah, his interactions were very good, I gotta say, with that lady.
Poor her. It's a big day. But she goes to speak to Renee, who says, "I'm ready," which is nice. And I was excited for a scene with Renee. She gets like 10 words. All she does is...
Yes.
I mean, that is literally 90% of screen time is looking intently. It's remarkable. Do they not think she can learn dialogue? Like, she's literally the crux of the story, and she's given maybe like under 80 lines in 10 episodes. It's very strange.
And then the nice little discussion. And by the way, that sailboat that she has in this scene is not the same sailboat we saw in the first episode. The one in the first episode was smaller and black. This one's larger and gray. That little sailboat thing. Just for the record, that annoyed me so much. This one looked more like a sailboat, and once you say it's a sailboat, cool. Remember, we were like, what the hell is that? It looks like a fake claw or something. And it just looks like out of a bubblegum machine, which it probably is. But still, it just, oh my god.
But Sung chastises the lady for not being energetic enough and passionate enough. Just
Oh, that was great. Yeah, I never thought we'd get here. What kind of attitude is that? You know
I'm
what?
leaving
I'll
you now. She's like, oh, he gave us 2.3 billion. It's just stupid. It's funny, but it's stupid. And another thing that the Red Letter team, I believe, or some others said, like, this lady's been stalking her entire life. That's who this person is, right? There's a certain trust value that I don't know if is quite applicable here. She's like, I've been stalking you your entire life. Trust me. Not I'm from the future. Nothing else. Just I'm your stalker. I gave you a present. I was there when you first did X and Y. You know, it's a bit... Just it feels a little bit odd. Is that enough to convince her?
Well, no, I think it was meant to be vague to the point where when we see her come out later and go talk to Sin, like, she actually freaked out a bit. But
yeah,
it's fairly well written dialogue, but
it's just not in depth enough. It
No.
should have been a much larger part of the season.
IMEC throws in $10.
Yes, boom.
So is the trial finally over now? I guess so.
His trial, anyway.
Yeah.
The audit of the trial is still to come with Q. Different
Yeah.
Q.
Doc McGillicuddy, $5. How
Thank you.
was Soong, a fallen, failed, exiled geneticist, have access to a spaceport? Is rocket scientist, or has he anything to do with space? He's out of... Doc, in the last episode with the gala, he made a massive contribution to the project, which we don't know how much it was. But in this one, he even says, "What doesn't my contribution get me 5 minutes of FaceTime with the astronauts?" Money talks. So where he got the money, we don't know, because he was pretty much fired and discredited. But he probably had some saved up. Who knows?
Yeah, but he was in the news as being this almost criminal. You know, I think she would know who he was, and it's played like she doesn't at all.
Oh, Matt, that's dark. That's like, I know about that mole on your inner left thigh.
I put it there.
It's a tracking device.
Goodness. But it
Anyway,
works, obviously.
Yeah.
Drones
Well, the
launch.
drones all launch. Yeah.
And for some reason, 4 felt really unimpressive to me as the big final solution. You know? Felt like a very weedy... And how far is he from the launch pad, conceivably? Because these drones are not going to be designed to go for 80 miles. That's... I know they're advanced drones, but that's... I mean, even flying that far, you got... Well, we don't know what the plan was. I guess fly into the shuttle thing, I guess.
Yeah, I would think so. Take it down in the launches.
Yeah.
Rigoberto Hernandez throws in $10.
Oh.
Good to see you again. You were joining me for some of my late night lives, so good to see you.
Excellent.
I really thought finally we're getting a hero ship commanded by a Latino. I thought for sure we were getting a Stargazer series, and Rios was perfect for the big chair, except he was Latino, I guess. Angry face. I was really disappointed with the Rios thing too, man. I feel for you.
I'm sure they, as the producers, were like, wow, that was trending on the social medias, and we removed him, and we gave him 44 scenes, removed him from oh crap. Yep. Yep.
MC, $5.
Ooh.
How did the Borg Queen know this was the path towards rectifying the timeline when Q says this is the only timeline Talon meets Renee? Yeah, he does say that Talon dies in every timeline, but this is the only one that he met Renee, or she met Renee.
Which is different because they changed it, but also the same because it always happened. I think, Stuart, it's best to ignore all the time travel events in Star Trek Picard Season 2. Just all of it. The Borg aren't different. It's not cohesive. It's really not. And honestly, it's that it makes Discovery Season 2 look a little bit smarter in its time travel, which is a really bad thing to say. And that's... Would you agree with that?
I never really thought about it, but yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
Because that, if you recall, was quite straightforward. Baddie from future. But if this is a predestination paradox, Stuart, how can Control have gone back and tried to destroy the galaxy if the universe is already destroyed by Control? How can it be predestination paradox?
Brain hurts.
Yes. I see where the time cops for that.
Omnitographer, $5. Thank you so much. Took a minute, but I looked through my photos of the 10 forward events in LA. I don't see that photo, and I got a good coverage of pretty much all of it. I'm glad you were there. That's awesome.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So thanks for looking for us. We appreciate that.
But
Doc McGillicuddy.
I don't think they would have kept that up. I mean, that's big spoiler because people would see it, and once that's revealed, it'd be. I think they'll just avoid having that on.
Yeah. Doc McGillicuddy, $2.
Thank you.
Tell me Gerardi Borg didn't look like Neelix, LOL. She looked bad. I don't know if she looked like Neelix, though.
Yeah, I saw a picture of that, and I'm like, is that what people think? I couldn't really see it.
I didn't get that.
Yeah. Certainly confused by that. I also want to know if it was CG or not. Because it kind of looked... Because she stood still the entire time, so it could have been not a deep fake, but a CG face extension. Because she barely talked, she stood still. You know. Right.
Well, we get Soong and Renee, and he puts his hand on her face and is like, "It's all right, come with me. We'll take care of this."
And she says, "Dr. Soong." So she knows. So he thinks, because he thinks something of it. He knows that she knows who he is, and is positive towards him. Do they tell everybody that someone just donated several $1 billion and he's a disgraced genetic engineer who just lost his license? Like, you can't have both sides. He can't be a famous guy that's now, like, broken and also available to give... You know what I mean? It doesn't really work as both.
I mean, I think the astronauts would be up on, like, the people that funded the project, or at least donated, like, the important people. Kind of like a special thanks at the end of a movie. They might have a list, but does his name stand out? Does he...
Yeah, well, yeah.
Doesn't have a picture of his face.
I was just... yeah. I was just shocked. I just wanted to be like, help me! Yes, I'll help you, dear. I don't know who he is. Why, you know? Add anything to have them know each other. Does that imply that he's met her already? I mean, maybe he met them at the gala, but then also, does she not...
Yeah.
Like...
And lucky for Soong that his neurotoxin happens to work on Romulan physiology as well.
And lucky for them, I guess that hologram is... This just doesn't go through it. I guess a hard light hologram, because...
Yeah.
Through holograms. So I guess it's a very advanced hologram. But they get manual control of the drones extremely easily. One of them anyway, for some reason. Not that they should all be interconnected, but I guess one only. And they're flying, I guess, 50 miles. And Rios really low budget pilots them in a dark corner on a console we can't see. So
even
cheap.
says its analog control isn't helping. It's like, well, I'd like to see that, please.
So cheap. So cheap.
Anyway, we find out, yes, that Renee has been poisoned. And I love how he pulls it off. This neurotoxin. Well, your finger is now touching part of the outward. So good job. And good thing you applied it the right way. Just saying. Anyway, it proves it's a fatal neurotoxin. I am Misi, $10. No way would they let an outsider talk to an astronaut right before launch. Make quarantine useless. No matter the money, it could ruin the entire mission. Yeah, like you could FaceTime them, to wish them luck or whatever.
Even you have a room with two-way glass. Visitor room.
Well, and usually 6 feet apart. Even still, if there's glass and glass, but like 6 feet of distance, just so nothing biological can get across.
Now this is the point where I then was like, oh yeah, Picard's in this show. Literally, because like, oh yeah, he hasn't done a thing. He had zero impact in saving his descendant. But that was his big plot line, to save the future. He didn't do anything. Didn't do anything. This is the hero of your show. Captain Jean-Luc Picard himself, he didn't try and get in, he didn't try and do anything, he didn't use Hound's devices, he did nothing. What?
And then look, oh, the launch is happening. That's very quick. Usually they take the astronauts up to the command module and they're in there for like 4 or 5 hours.
You missed the best CGI ever, Stuart.
Oh, what did I miss?
The drone segment.
Oh. Well, you already kind of talked about them being destroyed, so I just... Sorry.
Well, quite. Did you like how they got destroyed?
No.
Somehow? I don't quite understand what happened. Do you understand what happened?
Nope. If he had control of one, he like clipped 3 other ones, and the last one managed to destroy both his drone and the last drone. So very convenient. Very good, precise flying, so he didn't destroy the drone that he was in control of. Good job.
I thought it was going to blow up and destroy them, not hit them.
Mm-hmm.
Or it should have hit 3 and then 1 survived, and then, but it feels the most basic, easy, cheap, simple. It has zero payoff, and again, it cuts back to him. This little non-room, it has zero impact, and you know the audience. Oh, it's over, like that was it. Huh. And why would Sung launch his backup plan if his primary plan was working?
Just a contingency.
But why double
backup.
kill her?
Well, I wouldn't kill her necessarily. Just scrub the mission, probably. I would assume that they would hit the thing before it launched, perhaps.
Exactly, so they would kill her anyway.
I wouldn't destroy it. It would just...
Well, you think 4 drones flying to a rocket wouldn't blow it up?
No.
Well, do you not think, well, wasn't that his plan to blow it up? Although, you know, because they...
I think just disable it, perhaps, so they scrub the launch.
But the drones have Sung, like, logo on them, so they have to be destroyed to not have... Well, I'm serious, like, if any piece survives, he'll go to even more prison. But there you go, Stuart, we've finished the entire 10-episode subplot of Saving the Future, I guess.
Almost. We've still got a few things to complain about. Hold on.
But that was the Renee thing. Like, that was the end of that subplot. Like, that's the bit. They've now fixed the future. She's now on the mission. Even though she just got told 10 minutes ago that she was stalked her entire life by a maybe alien, and she's not phased at all. Just saying.
And speaking of, it's funny how Talon has a red blood shot eyes when she's a Romulan with green blood.
Yep. I think they forgot.
Love the one line. Her eyes are so pretty, and she's looking up, and I'm like, yours ain't. It's the first thing I thought the first time I watched it. Oh my god. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh, Kit 10K threw another $5 in PayPal. Maybe Soon was given an antidote for the toxin, and that's why he peeled it off without getting poisoned. But that would make sense. Sure. Yeah, just in case you accidentally touch yourself.
Yeah. What, did he invent the toxin or someone else? But you asked, Stuart, and it's quite impressive actually, did this episode stick the landing?
Ooh.
A shocking result with 238 votes. Yes, 50%. Stuart?
That's one of our best polls. Let's end it before somebody screws it up.
Yeah, 50%.
Yeah, so 50-50 split on whether this was a successful season finale. Oh, well, when I finished it, it's 50% yes, 49% no. So there's a missing 1% somewhere.
Yeah, so it's 50-50. Wow.
259 or 239 votes. It's pretty good.
I've got a really hard question in the poll now.
Go for it. Guys, hit that like button. We're still not at 150. I think we can get to 200 likes if everybody hits that like button. So please give it a tap. We'd appreciate it. Also, I wanted 2 new members. We haven't got any yet. So if you guys want to check out that join button and just take a look at your options, we'd appreciate that as well.
And we are $200 away from a season finale minimum. So 10s would be great.
Yeah.
But Stuart, new poll, because this is going to be a controversial one, because I never thought I'd have to ask this.
Which season was better, Disco season 4 or Picard season 2? That's a good poll.
That's a really good poll because remember when it came out we were like, well, obviously 1, and now I'm not so sure, Stuart. Are you sure which one you liked more?
No.
I know. That's really bad. Oh dear.
That's a tough question.
That is a tough question. There's so many swings and roundabouts for each. We'll get there in the end. We'll have the debate. Vote though. I really want to know what you guys think. But we've now finished the time plot. I do like Talon dying. I do like the acting. I do like the vibe. It's nice. I don't like he kisses her forehead. That feels a bit creepy. But I like the general. But it's weird that no one sees them. No one notices. It's just they're just in this corner and against his box. It's super cheap feeling, and it's not serving the plot in a way that it could do. But she dies, and then we get back to the. I guess he's driven all the way back, and the place is wrecked. I like his acting though. His acting is like, you mother effers. As live footage from the space shuttle, and Ray is completely unfazed by the stalker her entire life. Totally going well. She's there, and he's a gentle, not happy. They throw something. Fun times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If only he wouldn't have alerted them to the drones, they would have taken the ship out. But then all those files are getting deleted.
Oh my god. By a really awkward lady sitting on the floor in a library with a VR headset waving.
I would have loved it if that poster behind her would have been for like Reading Rainbow with LeVar Burton.
Like a Photoshop of another famous black man. Like,
yeah.
Like with the Schwarzenegger in the Last Action Hero. It's like a complete verbatim poster. And this is such an awkward thing. Like, why would this work? And that's okay, whatever. Yeah.
He has no backups, apparently. He didn't back up any of this important research he's been doing his whole life.
Now, I do get that she probably would have destroyed external hard drives, but it's very likely he has a
if she knew about them.
Exactly, the ones that he didn't know about. Like, I have so many hard drives, Stuart.
I know you do.
So many hard drives. PC isn't all PC'd. And she wouldn't know all of his research because she's not a scientist. She stays in her bubble. She only goes up to his office once that we see, and it's to... So it feels very disingenuous to say all your life's work's gone just from one button click. Yeah. Personally. I think the breaking stuff is implied hard drives, but it would have been better if he like walked in, there was a server farm that was on fire. Like, all the backups were gone as well. You know?
Yeah, but, oh yeah.
But it doesn't quite come across the way it should. And then for some reason... he goes from being my life work ruined and I gave 2 billion to the people and I'm a disgraced scientist, even though all my kit's still here, I can still sell all my kit. He pulls out of his drawer and he lingers on it for a long time. What is it, Stuart?
Project Con. Confidential funding report from June 7th, 1996.
I didn't catch. That's my birthday. I was 3. I'm alive when Khan's
awesome.
Alive. Wow.
And this is leading, of course,
in this context.
But he's going to continue the research and pass it on, and that's what leads into the eugenics people and Enterprise.
He's like, oh, I don't want to create people from scratch anymore. I can just improve other people.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it plays, it kind of... I feel like if you weren't as in on Trek, you'd say, oh, he's the one that made Khan?
That's what a lot of people said. The retconning the eugenics wars, he's going to create Khan? Oh.
Yeah.
No. This is obviously after the eugenics wars is wrapped up. Here's the official file on the eugenics that the people they launched into space, 1996. Mm-hmm. The date lines up. So, confidential file.
Yeah, but it's very easy to contextually kind of...
It's easy to confuse it, for sure. Especially
as the date's not on screen for very long. And because it all feels like a bit of a weird retcon of the visuals of the era, it's kind of like, well, But let's be honest, he should have opened it and seen Ricardo. Because if he'd seen Ricardo, then obviously it wasn't Project Khan. Because why would you name a project after its leader? Did he... I mean, he must have named it. Did the US Army name it after the guy that ended up taking... Like, Khan was one of the people. He wasn't the main... Like, he became the main people, but it wasn't called Project Khan. What's the Project Khan of it? And would you name it Project Hitler? after the Aryan dictator? Because that's what they've done. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's the name of the guy that happened to be the best. Project because he's as bad as Hitler. Like in the Jonas War, mass murder.
Yeah.
So I wish it opened it and we see Ricardo, we see the space seed ship.
From Space Seed, yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, this is after he's going back into it. Yeah.
And to be fair, the props department probably had that kind of stuff in there, but due to time constraints, maybe they just didn't film a scene for it, or they cut it out.
What time constraints? You had 10 episodes, Stuart.
I'm well aware. You don't have to tell me that.
But I like it in concept, but it's just less well done than previous versions of this reference.
Mm.
Now, Project Botany Bay is kind of funny. Or Project Bay. Michael Bay. But anyway, not Karma, not Sutra. Gets a DM saying, meet me in LA. He's like, I got literally nothing left in my life. I don't know what society's like. I have no money. I have no friends. I have no people I know. I'll follow the text. I'll follow the White Rabbit. Which, in fairness, I can actually believe.
Yeah. 213 people here. 158 likes, guys. Hit that like button. I want to get up to at least 175 for likes. Maybe 180. Let's go to 180. And keep the super chats coming.
Yeah, really like
now,
considering season finale.
Here, this was like a nice moment for me. I was like, oh, that's cool. Well, Will Wheaton's back. But she says, I swear to God, if this is another
Will Wheaton's back.
I swear to God, if this is, another one of your games, Q. Which I thought was a little weird, but okay.
It's like he
what kind of games did he play? He showed up in a VR thing.
Did he even say his name was Q? I didn't think he did. I don't remember that.
Not that we heard.
And I don't think Dad would have mentioned Q because it was meant to be a dark secret. And even the way she said it, like, had a sense of knowledge, but she doesn't know this stuff. She's not in the know. But yeah, what did you guys think? What did you guys think of bringing Will Wheaton? Because I saw this from the thumbnail of the file I was given, so that was because it's so random. You couldn't predict it unless you knew it at a time. So for me, I was like, oh, there he is. Definitely Will Wheaton style dialogue. Having been watched Ready Room, it just feels the exact same performance. I wouldn't say it was particularly, but then again, he hasn't been Wesley literally for 25 years, and also he's now been a traveler for decades, thousands of years maybe. So he's not lived as Wesley. So he wouldn't act like Wesley because he's not Wesley anymore. He's this other being of grander purpose and seeing the universe. So I do get that, but definitely just felt like Ready Room. Poorly.
I think Squadra Course earlier and before the live started said, Wesley says here, last time I told a joke, I inadvertently changed a century's worth of history. Wesley told a joke as the traveler and created the Discovery timeline. That's what happened.
That'd be a great retcon. But the way he says it, though, it implies he didn't or couldn't fix it, but they explicitly say there's a tapestry of time that all has to be saved. Did you break your timeline or not, Will? I'm confused by your context. You're implying both. Because if you told a joke and changed the thing, you change it back, who the hell cares? You know what I mean? If you fixed it, it's not an issue.
Yeah.
These things get undone instantly. There's a weird joke within a joke. And the fact that she has no idea aliens exist. The hell is she trusting this guy? Just because he hacked into her PC? You know what I mean? She hacked into her dad's PC, who's probably superior to her laptop. Why is she trusting this guy? I didn't get the connective tissue here. Did you?
Nope, I did not. Unless Q said, hey, there's a bunch of aliens out there, but he wouldn't have done that, so. General Grievous, though, $2, a poorly executed concept. And Matt Deckard is like, shut up, Traveler.
Oh. Yeah. But I did like seeing him. How could you not?
Is it just me, or do you miss scenes with certain people? Like, why wouldn't Wesley have a scene with Picard? That would have been kind of nice. Just to show up before Q shows up, maybe, or something. And it would have been nice to see. I don't know how it would fit in. It wouldn't have, but hey.
Because as I said in another review, this character only serves a point of removing Corey from any future stories, or she's no longer a plot hole because we're taking her out. No, we could use her again in a few years, but we don't care. So it felt just more like she has knowledge of Q timeline. I can't see it'll be important in the next season. Honestly, I think that's a totally non.
Well, she can show up anytime now and help out.
Well, so could Wesley,
future Star
and
Trek
he never did.
Yes.
So.
General Grievous, $2. Not Wesley, but Discord from the show Leverage. Wooga, $5.
Thank you.
The two of you get to choose a new show that's a Picard spin-off. Do you choose Rios, series on Earth, a Travelers series, or a Confederation series? Confederation documentary. Learn about the history of the Confederation. I want to see the World Razor in action.
Narrated by General Picard. These puny people fought us for years, and we... Yeah. I would choose... The thing is, Rios on Earth is just Assignment Earth without the Watchers. Traveller series is anything, which means they won't do interesting things that take so much money. You know, they won't be able to travel to all the different eras because it's too expensive. So it'll just be them on planets on Earth. So Confederation is the most interesting one because they've already built the sets, etc. But none of those are interesting, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's nice enough to see it. It just feels like a purely plot hole removing or side thought, or it doesn't feel substantive. And because he's not Wesley anymore, really, it's not Wesley anymore. I like that he's still a traveller, though. At the very least, they kind of continue his arc. They didn't undo it. But, you know. Yeah.
I just don't understand the beam out. It would have been cooler if he grabbed her hands and they faded like him and the Traveler did when they were taking the ship, through warp. But
it feels like a glitch that the script said they teleported out, and the VFX team did a teleport, and they meant to do something else. Because I see no reason for this whatsoever. They're not using Federation tech to do this. That's what their beam looks like, just gold. Like, this is not... It doesn't make sense, and it left me disappointed.
Yeah. All right, so we're back at the chateau, and Rios is filling a duffel bag, and he says, a tricorder, a couple of comm badges, a broken phaser. I think that's all of it.
I laughed out loud in this moment.
I did too. What about all the dead Borg in the field? The ones that are embedded in the wall?
The guy Drati murdered.
Got a lot of cleaning up to do.
Yeah, do you
I didn't murder anybody.
Drati did.
Oh, the guy in the alley, yeah. I thought you meant the cop. He just woke up without a spleen. I don't think that'll become an urban legend.
Like, the amount of things they've done to break the timeline, you just finding your stuff isn't even close to being enough. It's shocking it's swept under the rug here.
And Junkman, nobody blames you for that. We don't understand as well. They glazed over a lot of stuff, but what else happens here? Yes, lovey, blah blah blah.
Kissy.
When the kids look at the rock, look at the rocks I found in the field. I assume they're going to be like dilithium or something. It's like, we need to take those, but no.
At this point, I was really believing that the show was going to be bold and be consistent and have them stay in the past, die, and then leave a message for them on the Stargazer, which could only be opened at this time, which changes the timeline. And then they wake up, and then they never have gone back in time. So all the work is undone, but we know they can get to this point. And presumably the message will be from Picard as well, saying, Picard, Jean-Luc, you might not remember this because you blocked it out, but your mum killed herself? #awkward. I was really quite excited at that because we've seen the occasional sci-fi where they live their lives and then their actions change their present. Two timelines happen, thereby altering the first one. Although too many things have happened to already get to that point. But that's obviously not what happened. But I was quite excited by that. But they have a decent chemistry here. It's okay. You know, Raffi's a terribly abusive partner, and Seven's a broken lady. I don't think Seven would be. This is not a healthy. Seven as Chakotay, an ex-terrorist, is far more stable than Raffi. I mean, that is not even disputable.
It's not an exaggeration at all.
No.
Wow.
But now we get the end of that arc. So now Picard, despite saying in the last time on, the key found its way all over the house, which means through his life, this is the first place it is?
Yeah. I thought the same thing, but it's fair enough. It's obviously a loose brick. Somebody would probably find it, and then, it's the key to his door. And then, during the course of him being a kid, it was in different spots of the house. And then the dad just kept it behind that brick after a certain point. I don't know. Whatever.
When theft isn't a problem in the future, you keep a secret skeleton key behind a loose brick that's clearly take-outable, next to a spare bedroom that you put your mentally ill wife in. Huh? What? Like, even him remembering where he first found it seems silly. Or where his dad first found it. You know, how many generations of Picard have lived through his house that have never found it to know that it must start here? Are you saying Picard at 3 found it here? And he remembers? You know, it's trying to be poignant, but it asks too many questions.
Yeah. Kit sent a $10 PayPal, so thank you, Kit. Maybe Wesley beaming out with her was just the way Wesley wanted his teleportation to look.
For who?
I want to pretend I'm in Starfleet still.
Yeah.
Ooh.
For the audience. Yeah.
It implied to me that he had a ship in orbit, a cloaked little ship or something. I don't think they can just they can travel just without a ship, but
it's
I don't know.
Easier than beaming what they can do. Why beam?
Yeah.
Beaming's so limited. Very strange. Very strange.
Then we get the...
Now starts the good stuff, Stuart.
Yeah,
now.
Dialogue.
Now we're here.
He says, "Bravo, destiny left for a little boy to find in the future." And yes, now is when I got interested, and I was like, okay, here we go. This whole season needed little moments where Q would pop in or talk to Picard, because their chemistry on screen is what sells this relationship, and we needed more of this. But oh well, this was pretty good.
Yeah, I just wish he was in a different outfit, and I wish the scene sort of felt like it was linked to the first set with him, where he was so antagonistic.
There's no explanation for that.
If he had worked with him the entire season and built this relationship, it would have made more sense. And I also don't appreciate that in this scene, Patrick has about 5 lines, and they're all questions, and Q has great monologues. Patrick feels so... almost, why is he showing up? Like, his next scene's better, but this is his big chance to ask all the questions, and he says, why? And why me? I know, I guess, poetic simpleness, but, like, this is the big epic sort of climax, and it's just Delancey monologuing, and it's like, is this us savouring Picard, Patrick's one of his last 12 episodes in Trek history, and he's just saying why, in a way that anyone could say, I was kind of wanting more from the Picard side of this duo, even though it's very cute what Q says, but it's Q completely saving the scene, One of my favorites.
Yeah. Why? Finish the sentence. Why me? Why 30 years? And then, yes, I'm moving on. I'm dying. No explanation why he's dying. Is it just him dying, or is the whole continuum dying? Because you always feel like the continuum is like the source of the power. But it's talking about dying alone, and that he doesn't want that for Picard. Basically says, you know what, even gods have favorites, and you've always been one of mine.
Now my question is, though, Q is an immortal. Well, it was an immortal being. Why is he appearing to Picard when he's 90, like 99, and having kids seems a little bit of a late opportunity after he's already died and has not got active sperm cells? Why is now the time to have him not die alone? Why can't Q go earlier in Picard's life and help him understand? Because he could do that. Why is now the time that he thinks Picard deserves to live with a future wife, lover, with only 4.5 months left on the clock of his life? Especially as Q could easily see when he dies. Like, this is, I'm sure Q knows he's going to die in 3 weeks. You know, it seems odd that it waits this long to say it when he could appear back. And does Q care about time travel events? I mean, all this stuff has already happened in his perspective. It's very strange.
Good point. I am Misi throws in $5. Star Trek Picard along for the ride. That's how it feels for sure. Yeah. Should have gave Picard a choice. Well, no, you can't do that. God damn it. You should have given him a choice here. Like, do you want me to go back and tell your younger self this so you can actually have a family and not be a dumbass?
Now you know. This was the hard way.
And that would actually be good if Picard said no, but thank you. And then he decides to get with Talon. Sure, maybe he won't have kids, but it's the future. They could probably make his sperm do amazing things.
Could you imagine, though, in this scene, if after Picard realizes, Q would have to have his powers still, right? But imagine if he flashed him to Enterprise D, or even the original Stargazer, and he says, "Look there, mon Capitan, your young self. I will give this one chance. Go and talk to yourself. You could tell yourself all the secrets to make your life better. This is my first gift to you. This chance." And he get DH Patrick in a Stargazer outfit, like, and then he makes the choice not to. And that's his second test. That's Q's second test, because that wasn't really him. That was a illusion, right? You know, the choice is not just to accept the past; it's to accept your lived life to this point in the past. So wouldn't that have been nice, and not like fan service? Just like, it makes sense. Give him the choice now as be fully free of the burden. Is it okay to change my entire life? Which, you know, they already had saved. Blah blah. I don't know. God being against the rules, you know.
Yeah, but he's got one last surprise for Picard, and then we cut to the next scene where Picard walks in and asks, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Man, quite the opposite, actually."
I like how no one's doing anything.
I know. Just
hanging out waiting for nothing in a destroyed chateau. They're probably musty and.
They should have been down in the basement, phasering the wall. We're getting rid of all traces of these bastards.
Picard, I've got those 4 Borg from the lower catacombs. I need at least a week to get the rest. It's okay, 7. We'll leave them. No, there's. Did you hear me? I calculated 7.6 billion nanoprobes. It's fine, 7. And then we cut back to the same location we ended last episode on, and it's exactly the same lighting as well. Presumably filmed the exact same day. They just brought Delancey out.
I love how Raffi's like, "You bastard." Just before you kill him, let's hear what he has to say. It's kind of funny.
It's like, you can't kill him,
Raffi. So
yeah, it's terrible. So I mean, why even attack? You have 0 way home. Is it really worth attacking the god being that could send you home? What a short-sighted, pathetic thing to do. What if by strangling him says, "Oh, you're not worth this," dead, or your family? You know, it's stupid, pathetic. It doesn't make any sense. And why is 7 not even slightly engaged in this conversation? Just sits there. Why did Jerry even why did she even turn up to the set? You know.
Should have been like, "Q, you bastard," and then look down to make sure she's still wearing clothes.
Hi, Deborah.
General Grievous, $2. Nothing makes sense. Where is Q Jr. and Mrs. Q?
That's the thing, this scene. They don't even mention his family. What a horrible disrespect. Why are you dying alone? You have beings that love you, at least love you, hate you. To not even mention them is awful. I know it's not about them, but it is about them if he is dying. They are his family. Terrible.
Scarpad's Comic Treks, $5. In the end, this was a redo of Tapestry, but Tapestry was so much better. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, a massively inferior Tapestry. But it is sweet. Although Rio says I'm staying. Hope this girl doesn't dump him at any point.
Yeah, I know. Which is nice because then Q's like, well, that's unexpected. Huh. Not have enough power left for a little surprise.
Although since it's explicitly a predestination paradox, it's not a surprise, which means he had the power all along. But Q didn't know he was going to do this, so how on earth was it predestination? I'm just saying. Jurati had to... This had to happen for it to get in the future. So it already had to happen this way for it to happen. So that doesn't make sense either. Q would have known 100%.
Well, yeah, Rios decides to say blah, blah, blah. And then Picard's like, hey, before you like... Actually, I like how Q also says, yes, in my weakened state, you probably could kill me, which sending you all back is certainly going to do anyway. Mm-hmm. It's like his last little bit of power is going to kill him. But like, there's some good lines here.
This scene's great.
Q dialogue.
Yep.
Yeah. And even the whole, well, you're not going to die alone. And he goes up and gives him a hug. You know, that was very, very well done, I think. Mm-hmm. So that's what this is all about. Not dying alone. Kit 10K sent another $10 to PayPal, and he says, with Rio staying behind, maybe he and his girl, over time I mean, they took care of the leftover Borg bodies. Oh, yeah, for sure, because he still has the servo pen and Talon's equipment, apparently. So,
yeah, that's a hell of a job, though. You got to excavate them from the chateau. But I guess you have years, but yeah. Relatively good answer.
I just say use one of Talon's phasers and just disintegrate the bodies. Sure, you're going to weaken that section of the Foundation,
but it was always weakened, Stuart. That's why it was dangerous to go to in the chateau later on. I'm guessing.
Anyway.
So yeah, he snaps him. We assume he dies. Though it does say "see you out" there, which implies he's not dead. And we know that Delancey filmed a scene with Brent and Frakes, which hasn't appeared yet, so we assume he's in season 3 despite having died.
It could be too that, you know, the see you out there thing is, you know, I'll see you on the other side kind of thing.
That's why
you died. Yeah. Maybe we'll meet again.
But we know he's in season 3 in terms of, well, unless they cut that scene, which seems very unlikely. But anyway, we flash back and we're finally, after 9 episodes, embarrassingly 9 episodes, we're back in the present. And for some reason, Borgatti does not remove her helmet, saying, guys, it's me, could you not kill me? I've just disappeared, apparently. I've just vanished. Therefore, now I know you're me from... Now I know you know it's me, because you couldn't have known it was me before I disappeared. Now you know it's me, and I've not been in this scene, I'll take my helmet off. Why are you waiting? That could make them stop shooting. Girardi's a dumb Borg. You know, makes the entire season dumber because it should just... It's her fault this is happening. Playing that song is not enough of a reason.
You know what happened in the TNG episode? Exactly based on this story? She would have came in with the mask, attacked or hit the tentacle things, and when he ordered the self-destruct, it would have been like the face reveal, and then it would have been like da-da-da, cut the commercial or cut the opening credits. Like, it would have been quick. Wouldn't have saved it for this. Laughable Larry, $5. I just wish they would have explained the death better. It's hammered in Voyager that they're immortal and can't die. Would have liked a reason.
Well, they can kill each other. And Excelsior says, no one says, where's Rios? Yes, someone does literally say that.
Yeah, the person at the tactical station. She's like, where's Captain Rios? Just relax.
And Deborah says she couldn't put herself as the Borg Queen. We'll stun Jurati on the bridge, then appear. Done. Mm-hmm. You shoot the rest of the crew. If the entire point is to save the quadrant, don't let yourself get blown... Because she was going to do that. She was going to let herself get blown up. And they don't even qualify if anyone else knows about the alternate future. Because Seven and Raffi and Eleanor's... Well, a bit less, but Seven and Raffi's lines are totally ambiguous to do they actually know about the past. Or is this all... Picard is back in Picard's body? Because remember, when Q shifted them, he put our Picard into another Picard's body. Like, there wasn't time travel, it was alternate universe shifting. So,
Yes,
did he shift Confederation, because he's not the same body. Did he shift Confederation Picard's mind back into this body? In which case, he might have just done Picard because he doesn't give a shit if Seven remembered love or whatever. Like, you would assume that would be worse for the timeline or whatever. And he's not there to fulfill those people's ambitions. So I would assume that only Picard would know. I think it's more powerful than only Picard knows. But then it ruins Seven's arc. But it's like, yeah.
Scarpad's Comic Treks, $5.
Thank you.
Thinking about what would have been better, Q caused a lot of death by introducing the Borg to the Enterprise, trying to redeem that by fixing the Borg. And yes, Junkman, she was on the ship in episode 1.
I mean, you haven't fixed the Borg, you've created a separate Borg. More advanced than any Borg in the present, more advanced than any Starfleet. And where are those Borg in the 32nd century? Can Discovery Season 5 now introduce the Borgati as now, 400 years more advanced Borg? Yes, they can. They can literally have friendly Borg now, Stuart. They could now have said this Borg have been part of the collective for 600 years, part of the Federation. This might be in Season 5. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, because it's their way of having both. And they could have Girardi back.
Yeah.
Sure, we live 400 years without aging at all.
Well, Kit 10K sent another $10 to PayPal, so thank you. If Q is supposed to appear in Season 3, maybe the Continuum were pleased enough with what he did to help Picard that they saved him, and that's how he was in Season 3. Why would the Continuum give a shit what he does for Picard? Unless it's an act of self-sacrifice, which we know they've restored his powers as a result of before, but... General Grievous, $2. Behold, the non-symmetrical Borg crotch ship.
So they say, let the Queen do the business. And Picard is commanding again. I give him credit, he's back to that mind. So I wonder if they did film this back to back. The last thing they filmed, the first thing they filmed. Because now the fact this all feels so identical, they probably did just film it right at the end of Season 2, and then released it first. Because then they wouldn't have to build the sets for, maybe they probably built the bridge last, film the other stuff first, then just had to film the bridge stuff last, edit it back in, and they just keep filming. This is the way it's played kind of gives even that vibe. Otherwise, this Borg Cube Queen costume is like made and then not used again for like 5 months. But she CGI meta reveals a... Is it makeup or CG? I can't tell. It's weird, and it's definitely not like the Borg in any meaningful way. It's like lined. It doesn't even look like a Borg. Let's be brutally honest. Like, you wouldn't call that as a Borg. It says an alien race. You wouldn't say it was Borg. Doesn't even have. It's only lit green by the ship.
The question I have is, Raffi comes out of the turbo lift. So did she materialize on Excelsior where she was? And beam over, or would she just wake up like somewhere on the Stargazer?
Why would Q care enough to move her to Stargazer?
Yeah.
If he was painstaking in putting them back where they were, the hell would he? He wouldn't. The end of story. He wouldn't move Raffi. He doesn't even know who Raffi is, except the one who just choked him. But everyone tries to choke him. It's fine. So I guess she beamed over because she thought if she knew that timeline, she'd say, "I need to go see you." But then she would have been on the Excelsior on the bridge with Elnor. So she can't have been on the Excelsior because she was on the bridge with Elnor. And she wouldn't be on the Stargazer because Q wouldn't have put her there.
Anyway. And I love how Starfleet at one point is, this is Fleet Command. Please report in. If you don't, we're going to assume you're compromised and destroy you.
I mean...
Cool.
That's a fair... Yeah, and since I did do a Horizon-based, I guess Nim was given the order to shoot Enterprise if they're not confirmed. I guess.
Nice.
And then it's sort of cute, sort of not. The lead notices Rios isn't there. Picard dismissively says, "F you, get back to work." Despite this maybe a first captain and having personal connection to him, and very dismissive. And no one notices Jurati's gone. And no one even says, wait, is there a scientist that came aboard drunk yesterday?
Well, no, there's been a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, but she made a She made an impact by being drunk on the bridge. There's no one ever been drunk on the bridge, and she was flirting with Rios, and now she's suddenly a Borg. Like someone mentioned, she was human there, now she's a Borg there.
Not really recognizable, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, is to us, and I don't know. But there's a forming transwarp gate, I guess, and they want to stop it, I guess. So it'll kill a sector, I guess.
Yep. It'll kill a sector. And of course, then 7 gets her field commission to captain.
And I don't think you can promote non-Starfleet officers into command of a Starfleet vessel. I think that's pretty much against the rules.
Especially with a commander right beside you.
Especially she was actively refused part of Starfleet, so she's probably got a big X in her record. And part Borg with a Borg threat. So it's very likely that she's been assimilated, she's been converted, she's assimilated Picard, like, for Starfleet's perspective. So it's not really believable. I hopefully see into her being the captain in season 3 with the uniform. Clearly that's the best option. But... yeah. And the fact that Raphael's even mentioned, why is she not talking to the Stargazer captain? The Excelsior captain, like, why are you abandoning your ship and your crew and your... Why?
I love how 7 says, the Admiral has authorized full control by the Borg Queen. Tell them not to resist. That's funny. Resistance is futile. Don't resist, guys. Laughable Larry, $5. Girardi can now cross over into Discovery when they introduce the Borg there. I am Misi, $5. I am annoyed at how cold the new Stargazer is and how little it was used. Here is hoping once again for more next season. Oh, we're gonna get a lot more ships and stuff next season. I'm not worried about that.
Which, speaking of, a big old fleet appears. The warp in. It's some nice shots. They deflect a bubble. And, you know, some nice shots.
We get a closer look at the Excelsior, the new Excelsior, by the way. Over the shoulder shot, if you will.
Very low detail model. I think they didn't realize they were going to do it, because you can literally see the polygons. And but I mean, they never texture them well. It looks great.
It's a good design.
It is, but they texture them very poorly every time.
Oliver Lavery Farag, 10 pounds. On the first watch, I thought that this anomaly was Q dying, and with his death, we see such a small part of their vast and incredible power. However, now I can see that it's clearly just a setup for season 3.
Yes. And then, really awkwardly, the Excelsior is not working so well, even though the Borg Queen's in full command of the ship, which again someone pointed out. Why is the ship not working if the Queen's literally controlling them? Okay. And then the captain doesn't call, the lieutenants don't call, the cadet calls. Why would a cadet call the flagship of this fleet?
He was working on science station at the time, doing the harmonics.
Don't buy that for a second. Ranking officer would call. It's not the cadet's job. Who's been in the academy to 1 year of 3. He is literally the least training of anyone on the ship, and he's the one that's been tasked to call Picard. It feels such a shoehorn. I wonder if that was a reshoot. Like, it's nice, but it makes no sense. It's a massive, massive shoehorn.
Anyway, that was a surprise. And Picard's line there, that was the surprise he was talking about. It was such a bad ADR. It was so distinctly different and clearer than any other line that was going on at the time.
And then a big energy beam fires from it in a very straight line. Not sure how that would destroy a sector. I guess its radiation would expand, but a sector's huge, you know. Huge, so it's one little beam. Not even like a wave, a beam. But we're fine. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
And it goes blue. Transwarp. But not Borg Transwarp, because that's green. So another alien race of Transwarp.
Unlike anything Seven has seen.
And Rotty's like, good, there we go. Did my job. And I will guard the gate. Because I want to be a preliminary member of the Starfleet, even though I don't think they'll approve that, I'll be honest with you. Sorry, no offense, but let's not let an evil universe Borg Queen alternate timeline character join the Federation. I think that's probably a bad idea. Probably a bad idea.
Provisional membership. Be the guardians at the gates.
Yep.
Laughable Larry, $5. Do you think the enemies of Season 3 are the aliens from Season 1 on the other side of that wormhole? There's a distinct possibility. Yes. Do I think it? They probably won't even use them again.
Well, it opens too many questions, because they explicitly said they can destroy all life in our galaxy. How do you fight that? And if Soji's not in the next season, then you'd think she'd be the most important character to work with that stuff. So no, I don't think we'll... And it also limits the creativity of this next season dealing with the mistakes of the first season again. Because how are tentacle aliens interesting? You know? They just come through and just tentacle. Anyway.
Yeah.
But then we get beautiful Stargazer shot. Back to Earth. Back to Gunner's bar. Full of life again. This is the scene that we saw Raffi and in uniform in this bar. And Guinan and Picard talking. And she maybe really knows about it the whole time. And if she did know, then she chose not to tell Picard. Which means she knew that she knew that she didn't know him, even though she did know him. So she both remembers she did know him and that she didn't know him. But in this timeline, she remembers that she met Picard and remembers that she'd already met Picard. And yet she remembers talking to Picard as if she didn't know him. Both can't be true. Because they're different people. Just saying. It's a flawed scene. And I fell asleep. I don't remember what she said. Well, I was already asleep. You tell me.
Do you want me to read what she said?
Yeah, I did.
She says, I'm sorry I couldn't tell you sooner. I just knew that if I guided you right, set you straight, you'd circle around eventually. And I also want to thank you for setting me straight first. Can't believe if you don't say it. You know, I wondered if it was going to be a bit of a spoiler keeping it there, but you have always been more clever than observant. You see the picture, and you find out that they had a medical movement together called the Mariposas, and that he captained them through hard times, and that he died in a bar fight, or they died in a bar fight, older, over some medical supplies, and he died sucking on a cigar.
Well, only he did. She died of old age.
Yeah. That's not said, but okay.
No, it is. It is. I say Teresa
Oh,
dies.
really? What did she say then?
Teresa dies of old age, and then Rios dies in a bar fight.
That's not what she said, though.
Well, that I remember.
I'll read it to you. Here, hold on.
Okay. I can watch it as well.
When he, yeah, I guess you're right, because he asks, how did they, and she's like, Teresa of old age. Yeah, okay, cool. I just thought you were seeing Teresa of old age, Rio slightly younger, they're in a bar fight. But yeah, right, it's really badly done, actually.
Now, if there was a man called Christopher Rios in the past who looked like Christopher Rios the present, why wouldn't that have turned up at some point when Starfleet checked Rios's modern day record, that an exact duplicate of him, his DNA, was in the past?
Because it hadn't happened yet.
But it had. She's got a picture apparently. So it always happened, even the timeline got changed to make it happen. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. They broke their own logic. We know they would, but it doesn't work.
They don't search this entire history for your name.
No, name, face, and DNA. I'm not saying one. I'm saying all three. You'd have your DNA on file because he's a part of the.
Well, they wouldn't have DNA on file because they didn't have DNA technology in 2024 leading up to his death.
What do we do now? We have DNA records of people. We have their code.
Yeah. Does somebody have your DNA on file? No, but you've never had it taken. There's no need to. You're not a criminal. You haven't.
No, I'm pretty sure to go into the US you have to have
for any genetic.
What was it? Is that the eye or is it something else? I guess that was the eye. No, they have the fingerprints though.
You only get your fingerprints if you've committed a crime. You get your footprints taken when you're a child, a baby just born.
No, to enter the US, I have to put my fingerprints down. That's just part of the standard thing. Yeah,
okay.
You have to do.
Nope.
Well, I've done it the last 3 times to get to the USA.
Everybody from the States.
It used to be eyeball when I was young, and then it changed to fingers. Which is annoying, because you can only do 4 fingers, and then I got it wrong one of the times, they didn't like it, so I had to awkwardly stand there, my palms getting sweaty, and be like, "It's me! My fingerprints are there! Can you let me in, please?" Really, I mean, anything dealing with border people is not fun, obviously, because they can just say, "Nope." And yes, they do say, the Third War...
remember, too, that World War III happened.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Except she has a picture of him. So that survived the World War. Well, so did a bar, in fairness.
Let's see. Laughable Larry, $5. Read that one. Sorry. IMEC, $5. The Voth are finally coming to take Earth back from the primates. There you go. That's a good plot. General Grievous, $2. Wish Russell T. Davies was the showrunner for Picard.
Nah.
Okay. Laughable Larry, $2. Those time cops really took the week off.
Well, we have our own new time cops that make sure the time doesn't break, except when it does. It's very confusing. And then we get quite a nice goodbye to Elnor, I guess. He drinks his first drink, and I like the image of all 3 here. Which I thought was the returning. This was the cast for season 4, but no, Elnor's gone. So
I just don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that Guinan can be bothered to get up. She just sits there, and then they toast, and she's like at the bar, like it's so kind of weak and pathetic.
You've earned joining them, Guinan.
Stand up, come over.
Because they also all met young Guinan too, except Elnor, who was dead. Yeah, it's definitely a weird moment. And that awkward kiss as well. And then back to the vineyard, the CGI vineyard. As the bags are packed, Picard goes in, and she's restored the dome thing. And they have a poetic conversation that she's very affected by.
Well, he asks for forgiveness from her. Give him a second chance, and she smiles and says yes.
Like a schoolgirl, in fact. It's very unlike her character. It's interesting how she kind of morphed so much. Although they do say you love deeper the second time, so she loves him way more than Shabon. But we know that as part of it. Then you get a pretty awkward CGI shot. I don't know if you caught this. The reverse angle.
Yes.
Like her bags are gone, all the details gone.
The sizing of them is not right. Where they were standing doesn't match.
Like literally, the bags aren't there anymore. We had a whole point of showing the bags in the corridor, and there's a chair. Like not all the props are gone. I get they're just on a 2D plate, and whatever, but it's weird. And I like the CG chateau. It's fine, and then you get a warp flare out at the end. I guess some maybe time whatever.
I think it's a Q snap. It almost seems like a Q flash.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say what it is.
Yeah. Devereaux, we already talked about it at the time. Skip and then go back and find it to the whole debate. Yeah.
All right. It is that time of the night where you guys put in your super chat scores.
Yes.
I will read those when I'm done. Hear what you thought about this. ranking wise. So please do so. And like I said, I'll read all the super chat ones. We do need quite a few more super chats if possible. So do what you can, and hit that like button as well. So
which does just show the lack of interest this season. That this is the big season finale, and the it's interesting. But we also asked the question, which season was better? And the poll did shift throughout the 226 votes, but Picard wins out just with 58%. Season 4 Discovery and Season 2 of Picard. Interesting.
Well, I guess I'll give my conclusion. Like I said, it felt very rushed. The Renee stuff was minimalistic at best, and the whole launch thing could have been stretched out over the course of 1 or 2 episodes and done way better, and way more fleshed out. The writing for this episode wasn't too bad. Some of the dialogue was really good. A touching moment with Picard and Q saying goodbye. Thought that was well done. I did like the end with the shield harmonics and using them to block this big beam. How the beam would affect the whole sector, though, I was a little confused about. But overall, not a bad episode. It's maybe not as good as I remember, but it did, like I said, 3 or 4 episodes for this entire season would have been great. Would have been a good storyline, then move on to something else. So, shame that a lot of the people they hired for Picard are now no longer going to be in Picard. As a result, it's like, oh, we made a mistake here. We're going to just give you your blocking papers and get out of here. That being said, it was better than a lot of the episodes in this season. The ending, I think, with the Stargazer and stuff really did kind of help it a little bit for me. So it's definitely going to bump that score up a tad. And I'm looking forward to the lead-in for season 3. And if this transwarp portal thing isn't like a big plot point in season 3, then I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, okay, so overall enjoyment for this one, I'm going to rate fairly high, I think. Probably going to give it a... Because I like the speed, the pacing of this episode. It didn't leave me wanting more, which most of the season did. So it really kind of hit all the points for me, even though some were quite fast. So I'm going to give it a 7.6 out of 10 for my enjoyment factor. For all of Picard, it's probably going to get an 8.4. It was better than a lot of Picard. That's all I can say. How about you?
Well, let me skip briefly there. I was sure for a second you're going to say 9.1, and I was going to have to look down and be like, oh, I'm on the exact same page as you, and I'm like, oh wow, after all that, with the exact same, so I will jump straight to the score though. I was going to say 7.5. So I'm amazed that we're on the same page there. And I would happily give 8.4 for all Picard as well. I think that's very apt as well, because it. So not just to skip. I just thought that's really cute that we're on the exact same number there. Just I had those ideas anyway. So just that's funny. 7.5-ish, 7.5 and 8.4. No, it's better than some because stuff happens, but the first third is weak. The middle half is variable. The last third is confusing and exciting, but it breaks so many time travel rules and so many things, and you can't really have predestination paradoxes when the entire story is built around breaking the entire universe. Because it's so problematic. It's so problematic. But it is better than some. I'm really happy we're done with the season. It was a big letdown. Picard, when he was good, and when he wasn't good, he wasn't even there. And I disagree. This isn't a 3 story. This is a 5 to 6 episode story. I think 3 is you couldn't tell us in 3. It's too much with the mum and you just couldn't. 6 to 5 is really good. 6 would be stretching it, and then you have 5 is this, 5 is the transwarp. That's how you should have played it. And I am, I would love to do a hard cut. Maybe a fan could do it of me from episode 2 saying, "Oh yeah, there won't be any more than 4 in the past." No, that wouldn't make any sense. I was very adamant because thematically it doesn't make any sense, and it didn't. It didn't make any sense. It was a huge detriment. So yeah, it's a weird piece of television. I really want to know what you guys think. And 30 more bucks, really 40, but 30 if we can. And vote in the poll because the results are really interesting. Vote now. But I will. We're at non-super chat scores.
Well, I got some super chat scores.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was being too quick.
Kit just PayPal $5 and says maybe the sector destroying energy beam was going to hit a planet or a star there, and hitting it is how the sector would be destroyed. Either that or the writer screwed up. I assume something like that as well, but or perhaps it was an expanding beam that would just like clear a whole swath of like the sector.
Yeah, it's ambiguous enough to just be boom, destroyed, but I assume it's radiation rather than the beam itself. But it felt extremely 09.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe that's what caused the destruction of the Romulus' sun.
I mean, that's interesting. A transwarp thing goes straight into it. That would be actually, in fairness, an interesting reveal. Imagine Laris being in season 3 briefly saying, "Those cheeky feckers, they destroyed our sun." And that could be why it's supernovaed in a way that destroyed so many other places, because it got supercharged by this transwarp anomaly. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. That would be a fun retcon, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then it makes these people responsible for season 1 by default.
Yes, and 09. They take the fault for all the worst Trek.
And because season 1 happened, say it's the alien, say it's a Vaudois, it's not, but let's say that means they then, by their action, if they destroy Hobus, they created the JJ universe and the Confederation timeline. One action caused 2 entire universes to be created. Boy, ambitious or what?
Patrick, imagine the oversized JJ versus Enterprise exit that conduit.
Oh yeah.
You know, the oversized JJ Enterprise would be able to stop that beam on its own with just its shields.
God, can you imagine if that's the reveal as a transwarp from another universe, from the Kelvin timelines? Because they can do that. They own the license all in one place. That'd be an interesting. Like but then a third universe worth of villains.
Be cool. All right, so Laughable Larry, $5.
Thank you.
This whole thing was garbage, but thanks for your breakdowns. Best Trek channel on YouTube. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We watch it, so you don't have to.
I remember that from somewhere.
We should start all of our videos with that. Anyway, I am EC, $10.
Thank you.
6 out of 10. If it was not for the nostalgia moments, it would have been a flop. 4 out of 10 for the season for the same reason. No, I agree with that.
If you took out the Q stuff, would it drop down to a 5 or 4?
If I took out the Q stuff,
yeah,
that's probably like a 4.8.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of picturing. Like, yeah, another 5. Yeah.
Somebody asked, Dan, Ben, Samuel, compare this to Doctor Who Flux, which is worse or better?
That is a really good question, actually. Guys, can anyone else has seen both? Can they compare? Because that's a really good question, Dan. I think this is better because even though that's episodic and the stories are on their own, there's one good episode of Flux, I think, and a few good scenes, but for the most part, it's not very good, like most of it. But Picard, when he's good here, is great. The first 2 are fantastic. The last one's okay, some bits. The middle, I think this is better just. But the Weeping Angels is an okay episode. Guys, what do you think? That's a really good question. Was Flux or this better? I think this just. Because of the legacy moments. I don't care what 13 does. I do care what happens to Picard.
Tangerine Star 26 has been a member for 21 months at the rank of Commander.
Amazing.
Thank you. Hoping for Rios Gazer series, otherwise mostly meh. Well, you're not gonna get that. It'll be the space of like a year, maybe. I assumed he wasn't even in command that long. Maybe like a few months.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Anyway, what are some of the non-super chat scores? By the way, guys, this is your chance to snipe in with the last super chat slot if you want. IMEC has it right now. And yeah, another 30 or 40 would be amazing to end out. So if you're able to, we would
So super chat scores. Let's see what you guys say, because I'm really interested to know. The scores are, by you wonderful fine people, we've got 6 out of 10, 3, 8, 7.7, 7.5, 8.5, 8, 5, 1, 2, 8, 7.8, 7, 5, 8, 6, 1, 4.5, 6.Q out of 10.
Funny.
7.5, 5.5, 4.5, 8 point, or 8, 9, 3, 2, 6, 7, my bank code all together now, 5.5. 3, 2 good 7 fillers, 1 rush ending. Yep. 8.5, 8. That's different. Yeah, so that's a pretty broad. I think it depends if the Q stuff does just completely like save it. I think that personally is how the score. I did like seeing Whoopi again at the end. I thought that really helped as well.
Yes.
But they all filmed the same week, like days, so it didn't have the same gravitas necessarily. Yeah.
Sideshow Kaz stuff throws in £1.80 and says flibble.
Oh, if only. If only. If only. Oh yeah. Do you mind a Flux spoiler? Don't do Flux.
I don't even know what that is. So.
Oh, it's the Joe Whittaker one season. It's the pandemic season where it's all one big story. Like she had 6 episodes.
Oh.
It was a big
I
event.
don't really care.
So guys,
I'm not gonna watch it. So.
plug your ears if you don't want to hear a Doctor Who spoiler. So, and this is the thing they've not even mentioned, Stuart. Are you ready? They kill most of the universe, or most of the galaxy.
How is that not a good season?
Well, literally in 2022, almost the entire galaxy gets destroyed, and yet the Doctor at the end of the episode jumps in a TARDIS and goes explore somewhere. Not mentioning that they've done nothing to save most of the galaxy, to the point where, like he was down to the last few planets because this thing was coming wiping people out. It's like you've just Chris Chibnall, not only for the Doctor's backstory, killed millions of trillions of people, and they're jumping around in the next episode being like, oh, where's the beach? Where's me a beach? The galaxy got killed. Like, that happened. Are you ignoring your own? Why do that? And they killed all the Dark Side Men again. All of them. That's the entire point. And they're in the next episode. It's very stupid. Very, very stupid. It's very, very stupid.
But is it stupid?
No, it's alright.
George Mangrum, $5. Are we going to demand a Captain 7 Stargazer show? Or just let this all go? Hashtag justice for 7.
Look, if she's the
She's going to be in season 3.
Yes. If she's the better version of her from Voyager, yes. If she's her from this show, no. That is the answer.
I am Misi, $20.
Oh.
So 5 card stud, nothing wild, and the sky's
If only.
If
Oh,
only.
if only.
Kit 10K says, sent a hell of a PayPal. It says you wanted 30 to 40 more? Well, here's 60. Boom. Beat that, fellow Trek mates. Thank you, Kit. That is amazing.
Zing!
Zing.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get our graphics lady to, once she's done with her weddings, to do us in Strange New Worlds costumes. I think they've earned that place to have us in the thumbnails. I think I'm proud to now have that. I didn't think I'd care, but yeah. That's my statement, really.
It's the end of Picard season 2, and I'm pretty much saying the same thing I said at the end of Picard season 1. Glad it's over and we don't have to talk about it for a while. Hopefully season 3 will be better. I had completely forgotten how we had to do this most of the weekend, and then it dawned on me today. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes, gotta talk about it again.
I had the exact same feeling. I was like, oh, I don't, and I just filmed all day today. Like, I've drank almost an entire second can of Monster Energy drink to cope with this and try and be okay.
Klimt, I agree. Listening to Rios and Teresa speak Spanish. Love languages and
Good stuff.
he's so good. I love when he speaks Spanish. It just sounds amazing.
Yeah, he's one of the best actors in the show.
Well, not anymore.
Oh, and Raj says, yeah, the lesson they took was actually from the Croatian timeline with all that advanced tech as well. So they do have, but also that can't exist because it is a time travel remnant, which they've now proven gets undone. So how does that ship still exist?
Doesn't. She moved on to another ship, and that's that big ship at the end. The Lost Arena is probably drifting somewhere.
Well, sure, but just her and the ship can't still exist. If the timeline got erased, that was their entire time travel ticket gets erased, but it doesn't. Because yeah, even if it obviously doesn't get erased, but she has advanced holo technology.
Oh yeah, and
she has weapons.
And she also set a course for the Delta Quadrant. Well, that would still take 70 years. Oh, that being said, I mean, in Enterprise, they were increasing the ship's warp speed, or the ship that they stole warp speed as they went with the technology.
That is true.
So,
and they should really have transwarp knowledge instantly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it shouldn't take that long, but also she clearly didn't go to the Delta Quadrant and didn't meet, didn't meet the Borg, because if she did meet the Borg, it changed the timeline, and she didn't. So, tricky. Very, very tricky.
Steve Art 89 says, "You bitches stole my review thumbnail." That was created like literally on Thursday, so it's pretty obvious thumbnail that people would use. So anyway,
yeah. Well, we'll see where it goes, and we'll see when it gets announced as well, because they've not announced a single show after Strange New Worlds. That is no man's land. Will we finally get a break? Will we have? Is Lower Decks ready to go already? Maybe. Don't know. They did get their last teaser.
I think we'll get Lower Decks.
I think we'd
in
have
September.
to. Oh well, but that's not.
That's when it started the last 2 years. I can't see them changing it.
So Prodigy, I guess.
I would hope so, because we're still not done season 1. There's been another 10 episodes in season 1 to go. So
that's funny. It means
but even when we spoke with Aaron, he said he wasn't even sure when it was going to be.
And that would only be 9 weeks away. Like maximum. And you would think
we're going to have a summer break.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice. And it's so odd because that means that like you say, it was split obviously, but Lower Decks has released 1 season. Prodigy released 2 sets of episodes in the same time as Lower Decks had 1. But they're working on 2 seasons at the same time though. Yeah, I mean, I would love Prodigy to come out next. That'd be great. I'd love to know what happened. Like, what the hell happened, Stuart? We had some pretty nice reveals last time. Yeah. I'd like to know what happens.
Minkin too. Any more TNG reviews soon? Well, when New Trek's off the air and we need to do lives, we'll get back into the TNG reviews, sure.
And they'll be great.
Yeah, we love doing them. They're fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway. Can we get 5 more likes? Get to 230. We've kind of hit our minimums for everything, so anything now is just icing on the cake. But if you want to snipe in for that last super chat slot, IMEC currently has it with a good $20 super chat. So,
but Steven says the Tasha Yar from Miss Enterprise old timeline still existed after time was corrected. Yes, but they already proved that couldn't happen because the Whale Probe people didn't still happen in the past, and they'd be timeline remnants from our prime timeline when it got shifted. Now, maybe because they were the focal point, she survived as a rare event. Maybe as an exception to the rule.
Oh no, she went back in time before the events changed to alter the future to the way it's supposed to be. So of course,
the exact moment.
She's gonna ride that new timeline. So it makes perfect sense that she's still alive.
Yes, it does. As so should still be the Whale Probe people back in the past, because they still went back in the past first and did it and went back.
Yeah. Kit 10K sends a $5 PayPal and says, "Trekyards soon?"
Well, normally we do Trekyards in season 3 this season. I just don't want to, really.
Yeah.
Like we'll say the same thing. Episode 1, 2 are great. It was bad. The rest of it, this was okay. There's nothing like extra here to really, and even rewatching the first 2 will be disappointed. And especially as I'll now watch the first episode thinking, why isn't Girardi taking off her helmet and saying hello? Why is she not doing that? She's an idiot. It doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for her to do what she does in the way she does it if she wants their anything. It clearly fails because remember, Jurati knows they all blow up, so Jurati knows it fails.
I think revealing your face would have been to what the hell, because Jurati's actually here. It would have. Then they would have known what they had to do if they went back. I don't know. It's just, who cares? It's just.
Yeah, I don't care anymore. It's yeah. Kind of like
But yeah,
into a bit.
Ozzy has it right. Strange New Worlds on Thursday. Yep.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. So
we can swap back to that, which is exciting, and look forward to being able to show you guys what I made today on my fan filming. Some stuff you've never seen before. Let me just send you, Stuart, a picture of who we filmed with. See how you react. Not that it's like you won't recognise her, but you know. Well, you might do in fairness, but just how you think they look in costume, or uniform, I should say, uniform. There you go. The Facebook.
Oh, well, that's good. Who is that?
Well, I can't say because I'm live with you.
I don't recognize her.
Ah. Well, you've definitely seen the film they're involved with.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but then I can't say.
I'll text it.
Blue. Yeah, blue. Oh. I don't know what you're talking about then.
You saw this. We interviewed them about this film.
That's nice. I still don't recognize her.
Oh, well, okay. But you recognise the film, though?
Probably. Can't remember what it's about right now. Offhand.
Fair enough. Anyway, that's us done.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us. We love you all. Oh, poll results. Poll results. We asked the question, which season do you think will be the best? Now, having just watched seasons 2 and 1, the hope here, 89% think the unknown season will be better than season 1 and 2, with 6% season 2 and 5% season 1. That's a lot of hope right there, Stuart. That's almost everyone saying it better be the best.
I think it will be.
It better be, Stuart. It's a low bar to cross. So until then, he's Captain Foley.
He's Commander Calkins.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
See you guys soon.